It's party time!
Viva Pinata, filled with fun.
Filled with fun!
Don't be enjoying them. Viva Pinata, filled with fun.
Filled with fun!
Viva Pinata, don't be enjoying them.
Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And they made what into a TV series, the short version. It is, of course, Viva Pinata. Are you exhausted with this yet? Because we are.
Yep.
It's episode 17 from season 1. 2 segments, Franklingestion and Confetti-itis. Aired March 17th and March 31st. So these ones were separated originally when they aired. And yeah, we begin with segment 1, Franklingestion. Yeah, I'm struggling to say that because it's a dumb name. As everyone is going to a game of Lollyball. Lollyball. Did you want to play it?
Nope.
Nope. And Paulie and Fergie run into a depressed Franklin. He reveals that he's just come back from a party, but he doesn't feel good and doesn't remember what happened. And I was like, oh God, oh God, oh God. He's had a,
Yeah.
oh no, yes. The others convince him to come and play the game, which they do. And during the match of Lollyball, Ella on it, she lands on Franklin, sort of like squashing him. But instead of candy coming out of him, vegetables do. That's weird. That's weird. Everyone is confused. Then terrified when they realise what it is, because being candy creatures, the idea of vegetables are our mortal enemies, effectively.
There you go.
I did quite find that funny, that the reaction was like, oh my God, horror. Yeah. They take him to Dr. Quincy Quackberry, who does his usual comedic shtick. I think he's the character I hate the most. I think he's the character I hate the most, because it's this constant puns, and it feels like it's the only reason he exists.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he fails to help Franklin, of course. After walking with the gang, Franklin asks him to keep his problem quiet, but Pecky Pudgeon is in the tree taking pictures, so that means it's going in the paper.
Yep.
And the next day, Franklin sees himself in the paper, and then sees there's a mob at the door demanding he leave. Because basically, yeah, torches, full-on Frankenstein mob.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Heartbroken, Franklin declares he's never leaving his home again, much to the disappointment of his friends. Sometimes later, we see him covered in veg and Franklin in bed, sad, refusing to answer the phone to his friends. So seemingly he is quite sick. That night, though, Franklin's house is detached and flown away by a balloon. He wakes up, has some trippy images of vegetables tormenting him. So he has like a dream within a dream. It's
Yeah.
quite trippy.
It is, yeah.
Then he probably wakes up and finds he's atop a canyon in some desert world. I kind of thought of Trouble in Paradise. You have those different worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
He steps outside, the board breaks under him, and he's basically forced to surf down the canyon. He ends up flying into a tunnel and being knocked out. When he comes around, he's greeted by a doctor who reveals that he's in a wellness centre for pinatas with ailments that are difficult to cure. Convenient. Franklin goes through some tests, and it is revealed that his disease is related to the party he came back from. The doctors need him to remember what happened and use hypnosis to send his mind back. So basically he has to relive the trauma to accept it. We see Franklin at a party, and basically the birthday boy was bullied by an older kid. And seeing the way in which veg was used, so basically the bully was telling the kid he gets no candy and he's only going to eat veg.
Yep.
Basically caused Franklin to freak out and materialise vegetables inside him. I don't know. It's a TV show, a cartoon TV show, whatever. But with that source found, Franklin's mind repairs, his body changes, so now he has candy inside. Back in the island, it is revealed that Les was the person who took Franklin away, but of course the rest don't understand him, so we'll never actually know. And that's the segment.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a segment.
Completely out of random segment. Yeah, completely out of random.
I mean, it's all very, very random most of the time. But yeah, this was very, very, very random. I was very just like, oh, is that it? Is that it? Is that the big thing?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, we had some traumatic experience at a party that wasn't really traumatic, but that made him materialise veg. I mean, isn't the whole being broken apart thing traumatic in itself?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, indeed, yeah.
like from an angle of someone like Fergie, who doesn't want to go to parties, that must be the most traumatic thing of all. Why isn't he conjuring up other things inside him except candy?
Exactly.
So I mean, it's all very, very random.
It is, yeah.
But it is Viva Pinata TV show. We're used to this to a certain degree.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Talking a random at segment 2, Confetti-itis. As it's another Franklin episode, and this does not help the show's cause and all when you're doing 2 segments. And it's interesting that these were originally aired separately, and I think probably for this reason. 2 Franklin episodes in a row 2 Franklin episodes around being sick in some way.
Yeah.
Why? I was really annoyed when I was like, oh, it's going to be a similar thing.
They must be running out of ideas, man.
Well, it's hard to know because of how they were aired and because of the
Yeah.
random nature. You're just taking a silly idea and turning that into an 11-minute segment. That's the thing. There's no plot. We've said this all along. There's no plot or long overarching story.
It's not possible.
So, do you know what I mean? We're kind of just suffering through this to have it done.
You can't have a plot or a story with 10 minutes.
No, you can't, but you could at least try to do it over,
Yeah.
you know, perhaps if they weren't separate segments and it was just one complete episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us back Donkey Kong Country, please. Anyway, him and Franklin and Les are doing some aerobics on the beach. Les sees some hot bunny combs. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
And tries to impress them with his tricks. However, when they see Franklin, the bunnies are impressed by him at first. But they end up being disgusted by his confetti shedding off. Before they run away, they suggest he has confetti-itis. That's cool. That's fun. And I realised, oh my god, is this episode going to do a message? Now, we've talked about Viva Pinata's messages in the past and how it gets them wrong. It kind of tells you that lying, cheating, and behaving badly works out in your favour sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, are they going to do something here about accepting things that are wrong with you? And will they stick the landing? So I was intrigued. I was actually intrigued to see where this one goes. So Franklin goes to Dr. Quackberry for a cure as he continues to shed. After some of his usual shtick, he takes Franklin to his lab and runs some experiments, including one that apparently blows up the entire island. Did you see that explosion? I was like, well, that's the show over.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that how it ends? Just Pinata's Terminator 2 style. He does come up with a cure, though. And later, with his friends, Franklin drinks some. So I was like, oh, wow. Quackberry did something.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Nothing appears to happen at first. Then he starts to freak out and transform into a better version of himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, you're doing the message wrong. You're doing the message wrong. You're basically doing here, you know, you can improve yourself by taking supplements and cures and things like that.
Yeah, drugs and changes.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Afterwards, Franklin struts his stuff and impresses the females on the island. He makes the mistake of telling others who descend on the doctor before drinking more of the stuff. Dr. Quackberry ends up giving the medicine out to everyone as Franklin continues to drink the stuff, getting bigger and bigger. So instead of now improving, he seems to be getting fatter and fatter. The others, seeing what he's becoming, want nothing to do with it except for Les and Hudson. And that's really annoying for me, is because you have one set going, nah, it's not a good idea to drink it. And then you have this other set going, oh, I really want it, even though they can see what's happening to him.
Indeed, yeah.
It's weird. Around the island, all the other pinatas are also getting too big from drinking the stuff. Sometime later, Paulie and Fergie arrive at Franklin's home to find him as big as his house. He, though, refuses to stop drinking it because he doesn't want to be laughed at, but his growth gets him to the point of bursting. He's going to explode, basically. And apparently, this seemingly, because I didn't get this at first, seemingly will kill him? Even though they get broken apart all the time?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, again, everyone descends on Dr. Quackberry's home and now blame him for what is going on. They demand he find a cure and he agrees to look into it. The next morning, he brings out what he believes is the cure as Franklin is rolled in being so big. He's about to explode, even though he continues to refuse to stop drinking it. I didn't get that. Like, you must know you need to stop drinking this.
Yeah. I suppose it's like an eating thing, you know. People who are obviously obese, they keep eating, I suppose.
That's a nuanced way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's just depth that I don't think this show has.
No.
The others say they will accept them regardless of his issues. And with that, he agrees to drink the cure. So I was like, oh, there it is. So it is about acceptance and all that. You've just gone about it in a really weird way.
Yeah, completely.
Dr. Quackberry gives him one, and when he opens it, it's empty. Everyone's is empty. And Dr. Quackberry reveals there is no cure. The cure is just stop drinking this stuff, basically. And everyone stops and begins to turn back to normal. And I was like, okay, right. I mean, I kind of get your thinking behind this. Stop doing a thing that's damaging you. Yeah. It's easy to say, obviously. It's easy to say. Harder than it seems in most cases. But its message is clear.
Yep.
I think that's fair. On the beach, Franklin is on a date with one of the bunny combs as she reveals that she has a third ear. So it's about, oh, she's got an imperfection too. And in a rare thing for this show that I will praise it for, because, oh, you actually tried to say something here. Franklin turns to the camera, directly looks into the camera, and says, we all have our little imperfections. I was like, that's cool. Why not do that in a more interesting way?
Yeah.
Why not do that in a way, rather than making it about Franklin becoming bigger and all that, simply make it about the cure and how he comes to realise that he doesn't have to take it, and it is what it is, and we have our imperfections, and everybody has something or another. It just makes you unique, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get what they're trying to say.
The message is correct, but it took them way
Awkward to get there.
Yeah,
It's an awkward route to get there. And you can see they kind of had the idea, but didn't have the bits in the middle to kind of tell it. But it is a rare thing where we actually have a clear message overall what they wanted to say. And I like that. I want more of that.
First time, I think,
I think it's the first time they nailed. I think the first time they got the point across. That if I was a young viewer and having Franklin said at the end, I'd be like, yeah, you know, I like that, because I was worried, right? I thought when she reveals her third ear,
he's gonna run.
I thought he was going to run.
Yeah.
And it was going to show Franklin as being a hypocrite. And I was just going to be like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's what I thought, yeah.
So the fact they did this was quite cool. So I'm going to be quite I'm going to praise Confetti-itis for doing something a bit different. Particularly after going through the first segment and having the second one be this at least. I was more satisfied by that than anything else.
I mean, look, it was no stupid party stuff. So, as I say again, we've said it before, when there's no party crap, the episodes are okay.
We can enjoy them a bit more. Absolutely. That is episode 17 of 2 segments of Franklingestion and Confetti-itis. What do you reckon? You got any thoughts? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.